Hello, welcome back to another episode of Draft Chats. Today, I'm joined by one of the minds behind the Football Manager Therapy podcast, a comedian, and one of the few Football Manager streamers backed by an esports team. It's Tony Jameson. In today's draft, we are drafting from the Serie A with a small budget of just 250 million. Let's get into it. Hello guys, welcome back to another Draft Chat. Today I'm joined by Tony Jameson. How are you doing, mate?
Very well, very well, very well. Very much looking forward to this. How about yourself?
I'm good, man. I've been mentioned prior. It's been a long day for me, but I'm good to go, though, man.
Yeah,
Survive on
sorry
the
about
caffeine.
that. I've been keeping you up, haven't it? It's like just go. We'll do it on my terms, though. Like late
You're the
night on a
guest,
Sunday,
mate. You got to do it on the guest terms, don't you?
you?
So, if you heard it in the intro, the draft pool is Serie A with a budget of around 250 million for anyone watching. It's a bit of a tight one. Like you can see on the screen here, there's a lot of big hitters straight away around 50 million mark. So, be interesting to see how we both do in terms of do we all spend massive early on or just go and just get all the cheap picks only. Tony's up first with his first pick on straight in. Oh, Tammy's the one I was thinking of as well. Red me,
Pace,
man.
mate. Pace is what it's all about, isn't it?
I mean, I'm gonna go pace with Victor straight away. Then Big Victor can join him up front.
Okay, we're having a pace off up top. Okay, well, I'll tell you what.
Big fast boys up front.
Quite like the way of that. Oh, of course, we're snaking as well. We're snaking even on twos.
It is, man. You got double picks as well, man.
Single, nice. Big fan of that.
Get the back line sorted next.
I'll tell you what, let's go with Tonali.
Ooh.
Okay. And let's also go big on Tomori.
So that's
again,
a good
we're
way to
talking
start.
pace.
I mean,
we're talking pace, aren't we?
You need a fast back line, man, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
So I do want to get to the first question. The first thing we always ask on these episodes is, who is it you support and what is the origin story behind that club?
Well, I mean, that's an interesting one. That is a very, very interesting one.
one.
So, if you'd have asked me when we initially started speaking about getting this thing done, I would have said Aston Villa. However, that has changed due to an appointment of a manager who a lot of people know and a lot of people like, but one of those people that don't like him is me, and that was me. Drew the line in the sand was drawn. To be honest, I fell out of love with the Premier League a long time ago, and yeah, putting him in charge was the final straw, was the straw that broke the camel's back. To be honest, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm out. Like, and not just because I don't think he's good, because he's not.
No,
he's not good.
He's not ready for that job.
And it's not because my family are Celtic fans. It's not just because of that. It's because of the situation with how it was handled. Like,
yeah,
don't get me wrong, Dean Smith probably needed to go. Right? Okay.
no, it's the right time for him to go, definitely.
Yeah, like, I mean, he'd taken the club a long way, and did a good job, right? But results were slipping, and you need to be in a situation where you need to sort of decide what's next. And for him to get sacked, yeah, fine, couldn't really argue. But the thing I had with Dean Smith is that he made people proud to play for Villa. Like, you could see what he did with Mings. Like, Mings was just, he loved playing for Villa. Like, reinvented him almost. Like, Grealish was loving life. Like, made him the captain, made him the focal point of the team. Like, and it was just like, whoever came in, like, you could tell that they bought into his belief, because of course he was a fan. He wanted to do well for himself.
Oh yeah, you're going to be like team you support. You come to manage them.
Yeah, exactly, and that sort of makes a lot of sense. And then you sort of think, right, okay, so if you're going to get rid of him, then fine, but bring someone in who's got that same level of passion for that team, not another team, and very openly about another team that he wants to just essentially use your club as a stepping stone.
Oh yeah,
and again, everyone's probably fine with knowing that clubs are stepping stones, but just I think for this manager, and again, you'll notice I refuse to even name him. Right? For this manager,
Your name manager.
he who shall not be named, right, was he won one trophy out of 9
Yeah.
in Scotland. He won the SPL the year the worst ever Celtic team turned up. That was it. Like, he hadn't even won a couple of Scottish Cups.
No.
You know what I mean? And it's like, and you then sort of look at him like flicking through his Rolodex of like, oh, who shall I bring in? Oh, I tell you what, Coutinho's a great idea. No, Coutinho's a terrible idea. Like, and I know maybe I'm sounding like a bit of a sort of like a spoiled brat or whatever, but if you're slipping into a relegation battle, Coutinho is not what you need.
He's not the player for that, is he, man? I mean,
no. Oh, I'll tell you what, we'll bring someone in who's on like 250 grand a week. That should help. No, it won't.
The worst idea when you're in a relegation battle.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, far be it from me to be a soothsayer. Aston Villa are currently about 6 points away from a relegation battle. So, to
be fair, they're not going down though, man. I think that's fair, like, very realistic, man. There's no chance of them going down this season, but they have been dragged proper into it like this year. But considering like things started to look okay, I don't know, man. End of last season looked decent, and then it's just been, I don't know, look a bit stuck, don't they, now, sort of thing. Like thinking, like next year, are they the relegation team? Yes. You know, man. Yes, yes is the answer. There we go.
Yeah, they are. Like, I'm calling it right now. Like, I struggle to find who's worse. Like, who's worse? That's the question.
Yeah,
you know, and not even in a sort of like, oh yeah, like, I mean, you look at Everton. Like, Everton are so bad this year.
I don't know what's happening there, honestly, right now. It's a shocker, isn't it?
But you know what? Like, I don't think that Villa are much better, really.
I mean, like when we're filming this, obviously yesterday, like against Leicester, you just like I thought it was going to be a 0-0, and this is about like 10 in the morning yesterday. I was like, it's going to be a 0-0. Neither of these teams have like got it right now. They're not going to do anything. Bought it right. I mean, I'm happy because I put a bet on it, so I may look for it. It's a win-win for me in the end. So I was like, oh, perfect.
and that'll work. And that'll work. But you just look around and you're sort of going like, I just don't see what they can do, and if it's even worth them doing it. Do you know what I mean? Like, literally, I'm just looking around, like, just going, it's not worth you guys worrying, to be honest. Just don't bother. Don't bother. You know, leave it for somebody else to sort out. Speaking of leaving things to sort out, I'm going to muck up me pick here.
Oh dear.
I'm trying to work out. I'll tell you what. Let's go with Sirigu as a goalkeeper because that's a great plan, right? That's a 34-year-old
veteran.
Yeah, exactly. Robin Olsen was just above, actually, but Pepe Reina I looked at for a second. Rui Patricio, that's maybe what I was potentially looking at. We'll stick him in. Right.
I mean, I'll be a bit biased with the whole Villa thing because I'm a Birmingham City fan. So I'm gonna be like very biased towards it, saying like, I'll hope it happens. At the same time, there's enough. I don't think like they'll be in a struggle next year, but they'll be down there like 15, 16, 17. You know.
Yeah, absolutely, and also, and to be fair, like, rightfully deserved as well.
Yeah, I'll agree.
Because you bring in, it's gonna be. I just don't think that whoever they bring in is going to be good enough. Like, there's too much that needs to be fixed at this point, and obviously, you know, with that in mind. What do they do? And Steven Gerrard's only got a Rolodex that has, you know, former Liverpool players and players managed by former Liverpool managers in his Rolodex. So he's going to run out pretty quickly, to be honest. So I'm expecting Divock Origi turning up and what's he called? The Ukrainian Voronin, get him in or something.
Get him in. Why not? Why not?
His Stefan Honshaw's come out of retirement. You know, but you know what? But it's fine because it did, like I say, it came at the right time. It meant that I could check out, and you know what? Felt so much better for it.
Yeah,
genuinely felt so much better. Like, because I just don't pay any attention to it now, and like it's fine. Don't matter.
Don't worry about it now.
Just like weekends are nothing. Genuinely, I just sort of plod along and I do my thing, and it's great. I don't get wound up by football matches or whatever. So, yeah, I'm very happy. Very happy. I've never been happier. Nani's going to be my pick.
Oh, what a classic. But now he's in this draft pool, to be honest, man. I've got
Yeah.
13 million to go on one player. I don't know who I want for 13 million.
I
Some
got
man reserve this
21.
money.
I got 21.
I really thought I was going to struggle with this draft pool, like money wise. I
Mm,
mean, you've gone for a
same.
classic, so I'm going to go for one. Frank Ribery.
Nice.
What a classic.
I'm going to look at who's the most expensive player I can get at this point. I can get El Shawari.
Ooh.
I can get a third goalkeeper. Actually,
You've got a second goalkeeper. I've only got one.
I can get Darmian, who's
I mean, he's
19
versatile.
million. 19 million.
He can play
for
both sides,
Darmian.
can't he?
He can play all sides. All sides.
Versatility there, mate.
Maybe Darmian's the guy, or do I go Elmas, the Macedonian guy from?
Oh, he's decent.
I can't. He is, but I can't pronounce his name, so maybe that's going to hold me back. In fact, you know what? That's I'm gonna sign him purely based on the fact that I can't pronounce his name. So that's going to be me learning how to do it.
There we go. Learning during draft. That's what you want to do.
Is it, or am I going to El Shawari? You know what? Let's go for him. 18. Elmas is in.
Beautiful. Right then, guys, we're going to cut things there, and we're back in a moment with the game. See you shortly. Right then, guys, here we go. Then the match is about to begin now. Ready to go? How you feeling? You confident?
About as confident as I ever feel these sorts of things, to be honest.
You put yourself down in these like draft stuff quite a while, and then like the last few, you've really impressed. To be fair, haven't you? You've been showing people up lately.
I've found a bit of form, to be honest, which has been pretty good. You mentioned something before, like just before we started, going like, "Oh, you know, are you playing the way that you've been playing recently?" And no is the answer. I've managed to have a bit of success. In terms of like being able to draft with a specific tactic in mind at the minute that seems to be working quite well for me, but I want to kind of like try some alternative stuff and try some different ways of playing. So yeah, we're going to do something a little bit different tonight. It's not unconventional, but it's not the.
It's an interesting take on a diamond. That's
what I call
different.
the 4-4-2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Some people call it asymmetric. It's a 4-4-2, really.
I wouldn't say
a 4-4-2 built around football logic.
Yeah, that makes sense, man. So I've been a football manager. I want to get into. Do you remember your first? Oh, Tammy scored already. Okay, sorry.
Big Tammy, 5 minutes in.
And this is why I'm only being your first pick. I knew this would happen.
Also, as well, it should really point out this is my away kit, right? Normally, my home kit is black and pink hoops. This is like my prison away kit, clearly. So
I like pass from Elmas, like outside the foot. Oh,
lovely little outside of the foot pass there from Elmas.
Gorgeous stuff. But yeah, I want to get into football manager. Do you remember what your first ever save was? And do you remember any of the background to how it went for you?
First ever save would have probably been Villa, I'd imagine, on Championship Manager 92-93. Because I'm an OG. I'm a lifer. So I was there at the beginning. If I was there before then, to be honest, I was playing. Probably was it Kenny Dalglish tracksuit manager or Sunday League manager, whatever it was on the Spectrum or the Commodore 64. So yeah, I'd have done the works.
I was trying to think how of 92 I would have been 3.
I was 12 back then. See, so this is the thing.
I feel young. I love it.
Yeah,
I've
been there all the time.
Oh, Seaman, what an angle! My boy Victor, I love that.
He was come flying. He doesn't need to be doing that.
So good, man. So good in drafts, man, this year, man. He's just unreal. But it's not last man every time. Perfect ball from Singo, to be fair, as well. So I want to jump into discussing your stand-up comedy career. I want to know basically where it all started for you and give a bit of a background for everyone who doesn't really know much about your stand-up stuff, who comes in the streams and knows your other content but doesn't really know much about the stand-up, or where it all started for you, basically.
Okay, so stand-up started, about 2008 was when I got into performing. I would always sort of do I did like a media production degree and stuff. I was a media and cultural studies degree and media production, film and TV master's degree. And then I was a film and TV production lecturer for at the time would have been about 5 years. Oh,
Tamori!
What a strike.
That's going right back.
What a goal that is. Get that clipped, and that's part of the promo. That's a hell of a strike.
Oh my days.
Let's watch this again, right? My chat can wait. He wins the first header as well.
No, he wins the header, plays back to Regani, and he's had to think, you know what?
I'm just gonna have a pop from here. What a strike. What a strike from the boy.
It's unreal.
So I was a lecturer, and during my academic studies. I was sort of always making short films and writing sitcoms and stuff like that. And I'm sort of very into comedy
Yeah.
from a very, very young age, like raised on Billy Connolly and stuff like that. So, and like Eddie Izzard, and just, I mean, into stand up, into like sitcoms and stuff. Always wanted to do stand up. Never knew there was such a thing as a circuit or how you could do it or whatever. Just as far as I was aware, there was TV and that was it.
Yeah.
That's a penalty, in it.
No, he's going
Oh,
for a
it's
throw in.
not. It's not.
Oof.
And then myself and who were my now wife, when we were living in Newcastle, we were just looking for some stuff to do one evening, and I think it was like Tuesday or whatever. We were just flicking through like a local listings magazine, and we saw open mic comedy. And we thought,
Okay.
you know what? Like, she's a big comedy fan as well. So I thought, £2 Tuesday night, we'll go for a couple of beers. We'll do that. It'll be
Yeah, why
quite
not?
decent.
Oh.
And if it's not decent, it's £2. We've had a couple of beers. And you know, and it's open mic, so you have your mixture of you know, of good comics and not so good comics. And we went for like about 6 weeks in a row, so it became our thing. And I was like, you know what, I quite fancy to go with this. And I was like, spoke to the guy who runs it. I was like, look, what do I do? Like, how do I sign up here? He said, oh, you just stick your name down, like, come in a couple of weeks. I was like, no audition process. And he's like, no, literally, like,
Straight
I
in.
was like, actually, yeah, that's a good point. I've seen some of this. So yeah, you're right. It does seem like there's no audition process.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I was like, all right, fair enough. So that was me booked in.
Oh,
Wrote a 5-minute set. Wrote a 5-minute set about an hour before the show. Mrs. J was sort of going like, what are you going to talk about? I was like, I don't know. I was like, I guess this is possibly a story and this is maybe a joke. And that's sort of, we cobbled together this 5-minute bit. And, you know, it seemed to go well. And then got invited back to go again. And then eventually got asked to go to gigs that weren't in Newcastle and traveling. And then yeah, just sort of progressed from there, to be honest, really. And then eventually ended up doing it full time. And we've been going sort of, I mean, if we take the pandemic out of the equation, that's a lovely goal. That's a lovely goal.
What
If we take the pandemic out of the equation, we've been going about 14 years now. So,
oh man, it's incredible.
Crazy, right?
Well, that brings you on to the next subject. I want to mention about the actual Football Manager Real My Life shows and the toy regarding that. How long into doing comedy was that afterwards then? And how did that idea come about?
About, I think that was about 4 or 5 years in. So it basically ended up being my first ever full-length Edinburgh show. So like an hour's worth of stand-up, just me. I'd done a split show the year before with a comic called Katie Mulgrew, who I love to bits. She's fantastic. And previously we'd done a couple of like sort of split shows like with 3 people as well. So my first one actually was with a guy called Sean McLaughlin, who is Ricky Gervais's tour support now, and Simon Donald, who created The Viz. So that was my first ever Edinburgh show. There was them 2 and me. And that was good fun. That was really good fun. And I thought, you know what, let's try this thing, and you know, you're up against everybody, like you're complete unknown, and you're trying to sell a show, and the show came off the back of a 5-minute bit that I had about playing Football Manager and managing Blythe Spartans and winning the Champions League with them, and I would do it on like Saturday night gigs, which is like stag do's, hen do's, office parties.
Yeah.
It's not really the place for Football Manager-based comedy, like, but there was enough personality in it that people sort of got it, and they're just like, "You've done that sort of thing, haven't you?" That's your game. That's the one he's talking about, isn't it? And then obviously some lads will be sort of sitting there going, "Oh, is that all you've done?" You know. So again, there's that element of sort of competitive element to it as well, which I quite like, because I was never saying I was the best of the game, but like, I was saying this is my big thing. And then I ended up doing a couple of warm-up shows with Kevin Bridges. And he's a big FM player.
Oh, is it?
And he was like, yeah. He was he's really, really big on it. He was so I did this bit, and he says, "Oh, you need to speak to these guys at Backpage Press who are writing a book called Football Manager Stole My Life," which was Ian McIntosh was part of it, and Kevin had a bit in there as well. And he said, "Look, send them your story." And so I'm making a slight change at this point. Send them your story. It might end up in the book, and if it does, then cool. If not, you know, no issues.
Oh yeah.
So sent it in, and they were like, yeah, that's fine. Yeah, we'll get you in on it. I was like, oh, brilliant. And then I started to think like, oh, what to do about this show? And I was saying to a few people, I was like, I've got this idea for this show, and I'm going to call it Football Manager Ruined My Life. And everyone's like, that's a really bad title. I was like, because it's not good, is it? And then I ended up with a chance meeting with Miles.
Okay.
And And so someone I knew was booking a games conference in Newcastle, and they said, "Oh, Miles is speaking. Do you want to come and meet him?" I was like, "Yeah, that sounds cool. Like, let's do it." Unbeknownst to me, I sat next to the head of PR of Sports Interactive when I turned up, and they were like, "Oh, like what company are you with?" I was like, "I'm a comedian, mate. I'm in the wrong place." And they're like, "You're Tony, aren't you?" I was like, "What?" And they went, "Yeah, we know about you." I was like, "All right, okay." So
We know
Miles
about
comes
you.
across, yeah, and I'm like, "Oh, that sounds ominous." And bless, like, he's such a great guy, Irish Spurs fan, so funny. And then Miles comes on, and I'm talking to Miles, and he sort of says, "Oh, you've got this, Olivier
Big
Giroud."
Giroud straight
Of
away.
course,
First
Giroud's in
touch.
there. Um, and and Miles goes, "Right, what's the crack then with this stand-up bit, which I heard about?" And I was like, "Oh, so I might make a show, and it's called Football Manager Ruined My Life." And he was like, "Great, do it. Like, we'll help sort of PR it, or like sort of
No
help
way.
push it or whatever." And I'm like, even with that title, he's like, "That sounds fine." I was like, "Okay, fair enough." So we booked a couple of shows in, sent a couple of tweets out, and even just like one retweet from Miles. Oh,
Big
even
that.
one retweet from Miles just like sold the shows out within
Oh, I
24
bet.
hours. Right. And I was like, this is, and I just constantly get like messages going, "Are you coming here? You're coming here, coming here?" And I was like, well, let's get Edinburgh out of the way first.
Yeah.
And we sold the Weston McKennie makes it 5.
Wow.
So we sold the Edinburgh show run out, which again for a debutante show is difficult,
Oh yeah, I bet.
and with a really niche title is very, very difficult. But they were great, and they went and did the show for SI, and then we sort of did it a few other bits and pieces, and then a tour manager picked it up, so we ended up getting the tour manager for Mark Thomas, comedian, and Ruby Wax. They
Oh yeah.
picked the show up, and I remember the meeting that we had. We did the show in, was it Sheffield? No, it was Hull on a Wednesday night. It was hammering it down. Okay, Arsenal were playing Dortmund in the Champions League downstairs, and I had the upstairs of the pub. I had 100 people in. Okay,
Okay.
and there's not a soul out on the street because it's lashing it down. And I spoke to Mike, the agent, and I says, "Oh, what do you think of the show?" He says, "It doesn't matter what I think of the show. You've got 100 people in a pub in Hull on Wednesday, and it's like, and it's torrential rain outside." He goes,
Hello.
"Like, we'll talk, right?" So I was like, "All right, cool." And yeah, and then the tour happened, and it's just weird, man. Like, so strange. Even looking back now, like, thinking that it happened blows my
bet.
mind, and we're nearly like we're 9 years removed from that. And
About
then
9 years
off the
though.
back of it, we then ended up doing like the Football Manager documentary for SI, which ended up a great goal. Like, was sort of like being shown around cinemas around the world, and this is my massive head is like the opening shot of the film. I'm like, this
All
is
coming from a game you
strange.
played like for years. It's mental, isn't it?
Yeah, and we went down to watch it when it was premiering, and there's like people looking and going, "Are you that guy?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I shouldn't be here." Just the whole thing is like, I shouldn't be here, and it's just like, it's been mint, man. Like, the opportunities that it's created is just crazy, and people that we've met off the back of it has just been great. I ended up at the LMAs.
Oh, really?
Genuinely, I got invited to the LMAs, the League Managers Awards dinner.
Somebody got you way in there. Oh my god,
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
So obviously off the back of all that, you're now doing the Football Manager Therapy podcast as well. I'm gonna get into that with you and Matt. How did that all come about?
So, like, we've spoken about this a couple of times, Matt and I. My boy Giroud again, 6'2", mate. Yeah, so Matt and I knew each other through a few mutual friends, and Matt came to see the show at the Lowry in Manchester.
Okay.
Mutual friend introduced us and goes, "Oh, you and Tony would be good friends. You should probably talk." And we did, and we kept in contact for many years. And then as the pandemic started, we both sort of like reacquainted and reconnected at the same time. We're just like, we're both sort of thinking about some ideas of a project. Like, what do we think? And Matt was like, "I quite fancy a podcast." I was like, "I quite fancy another podcast as well."
Yeah.
And then he was like, would you be into like doing some Football Manager stuff? Because you've not done it for a few years. And I'm like, maybe I could, Millhouse. Maybe Football Manager's a good idea. Like, we'll do this. And we called it Football Manager Therapy because we used it as this sort of like we were using the game to get through the pandemic, and we noticed that people were doing the same thing, and even Miles was very open about it, that people were using this game to sort of help get through a weird time in everyone's life. And we're like, you know what, yeah, this is good. Like both of our industries collapsed overnight. You know, like he's in entertainment, I'm in comedy, and we're going like, what do we do now? Like, what do we do? So we figured, right, let's start it up, and it was great. It was great. Like it's evolved over the 2 years we've done it, from episode 1 to now. It's very, very different, but it's been great. It's been awesome to sort of like have a constant going on, and we spoke recently about it, going like, you know what's been really weird is even in these 2 years we've still not seen each other like physically.
It's mental, isn't it?
2 years, like
that's the most mental part of it, man. Probably more than anything. Like, you've worked with this person for so long now, you've never actually met like in person still.
Yeah. Like, I mean, obviously, like we've not even hung out for a coffee or whatever. It's been really strange. It's been really, really strange in that sense. But the product that we've managed to create, I think we're both really, really proud of, and it's been accepted within the Football Manager community. People have got on board with it, which has been fantastic. So it's just been great. It's been sort of allowed us to sort of focus on something every week rather than sort of like, well, what do we do? What do we do? Like, make something creative. Like, so the podcast came out, streaming came out. I mean, we mentioned just before we started recording, like, about the fact that we've had a little time off with the podcast, but it's back. It's back now.
Yay!
But it's back. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant!
Thank you.
I listen to it at work. I've said to you before. I have it on in the work in the background all the time, sort of things. I'm glad to see it come back.
Yeah, but it's back differently. It's back differently.
Oh.
It is at the time of recording this. It's not been announced yet, but it has been announced by the time it comes out. So Matt has gone full-time university.
Okay.
He's been accepted into a place to do a computer science degree.
Oh, amazing.
So Football Manager Therapy returns without Matt Richards, unfortunately.
Okay.
But we have replaced him. We haven't replaced him. We've brought in friend of the podcast, Mr. Rich Owens, who's now my co-host.
Oh, amazing.
He's been doing a lot of work with us over the last year anyway, and was kind of like, we often refer to him as like the silent member of FMT. Ideas get ran past him quite a lot, so he's now going to be part of it. So going forward, it's going to be myself and him, and it just allows us to do a few things that we had planned going forward anyway. We're always like quite forward-thinking podcast. We had like ideas stretching for God knows how long, with some ridiculous ideas, quite frankly. But yeah, it just allows us to go in a slightly different direction. And it's a evolution, not revolution, I think is the way we're looking at it. So yeah, we're going to start. We're looking forward to it. Can't wait to get started with Rich. And yeah, obviously the time we've had with Matt has been fantastic. And it's just sort of happened at the right time. Really, that little break was sort of like a bit of reflection for everyone. And he's got this great opportunity. And yeah, like, all the best of luck to him, you know. Like,
all the best,
he'll
Matt.
Smash it. He'll smash it.
The big question is, though, can Rich carry on Matt's songs for introductions at the start of episodes?
Well, we've that was part of it. Not the deal, not the deal, but yeah, I was like, look, I said it's not happening. I says, Matt, the songs are gone. Like, they're just yours, right? They're just yours. Our Patreon episodes, which we entitled the Chaos episodes, they're gone. They're like, they were love or hate. Like, some people loved them. The idea of, like, we had Football Manager coach trip. I remember it was a great one we did, and some people absolutely hated them and wrote on Apple Music's reviews that they didn't like them.
Oh, what? Really?
which is completely fine, because they are what they are. But it's but yeah, they were absolutely just like, we needed to have a bit of fun, and because why not? Like, it's
exactly, you do a podcast.
Yeah, but we knew that they would be sort of like crowd splitters, and if anything, we just found it funnier that some people were just like so against it. But yeah, like I say, it is back, and it is in a slightly different guise, and we're looking forward to it. It's gonna be cool.
Oh, amazing, man! That's great news to hear. So we're gonna get to the last few questions. Obviously, the game's finished. Congratulations, firstly, for absolutely battering me. 6-2. Giroud.
Like Christmas.
Oh God,
that Christmas tree formation works. I might keep that.
Looks very nice. Put on screen now quickly for everyone to have a quick nose. I mean,
yeah,
done the job. I questioned it at the start. I mean, fair play. It's ripped me open completely. And Giroud coming on getting 2 goals as well. That's more upsetting than anything.
Yeah, yeah. If Giroud sat there on the bench just like preening himself, and they'd be like, "We'll take Tammy Abraham off. Tammy, you've done well. We're gonna put Olivier Giroud on instead." And you know, in this game, he's an absolute monster. Like he's
Oh
gonna
yeah.
score goals. So
I mean, considering what Scout was saying, you're playing Sirigu right back today. You definitely didn't. So
didn't
that
go
Scout is definitely sacked.
Nah, he's done you over there, mate, completely.
Gonna be dirty.
And to be
Yeah.
fair, it's your own fault for believing him and going.
Don't trust your scouts.
Sirigu at right back. Oh, interesting. Okay,
Don't trust your right backs, everyone. Learn that one straight away. So we're going to get to the last few questions, obviously, with the game being over now. I wanted to get onto your current Twitch saves. Obviously, you've had the esports stuff with odds going on as well, and you've had your South American journeyman. I was going to get a bit of a brief update for everyone who might have missed a few streams or hasn't actually watched the streams before, to give them an update of what's been happening, sort of thing, and how they actually started. Obviously, the story behind the odds one is an interesting story, so I think it'd be like, for anyone that hasn't watched the streams before, it'd be an interesting start-off point for them all, basically.
You know how we say, I said earlier about I shouldn't be here, like doing these things. This was crazy. This is so crazy. So the holy grail for everyone in Football Manager is to get a team sponsoring the stream.
Oh yeah,
right? That's the holy grail. And we mentioned at the start about, if you'd have asked me at the start of the season who do I support, my answer would have been Aston Villa. Now I was in a stream the day that he who shall not be named was talked about. So I was streaming the night before. Bunch of like a Rangers streamer raided in and gave it the whole, oh, how much do we hate Villa right now? And I was like, mate, I'm with you. I'm completely
I've
with
been
you.
back.
And, and he was like, what? He was like, oh, he's leaving Rangers. We're devastated. I was like, mate, I'll pay for his bus fare, send him back. Like,
get him on the coach.
Want him? Yeah, he's like, oh, how can you be so disrespectful? I was like, nah, he's not the thing, right? He's not the thing, right? and then the next morning, I was off work and the game had just come out, and I remember because it was the day the game came out.
Okay.
I streamed a Wrexham save as part of our Discord. We do like a monthly challenge in our Discord community, and I thought, you know what, games come out, we'll do Wrexham for a season. That's pretty good fun. Everyone's gonna be kind of trying that, given the Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney takeover. There might be a bit of cash in there. So right, let's do that. So I streamed that on a morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, and I'm talking away, and of course, a few of my regulars are in going like, it's happened though, hasn't it? And I'm like, well, I said if it happens, I'm out, right? And I'm a man of my word, so I said I'm out. Like I could consider me a free agent football fan now, right? And so I said in the chat, I said, look, if anyone's to add to offer their team, like for me to support, I'm there to be considered. Sell me your club. And there's a guy in the stream, and he said, come and support Odd in Norway. And I was like, oh, I know Odd, like Odd Grenlin, the Tommy Svindal Larsen's club. And he says, yeah. So we chat away, and the stream's going on, and he's sort of saying, the club like really sort of like community focused. All the players are young players. They're brought through the youth academy, local players as well. Like they're really proud of the fact that they've got a lot of players from the local area in the youth academy. They do some great work in the community. They're like really pro mental health. Like they're really open about all the structures and strategies they have in place for the players. They've got a recycling plant at the ground.
Mad.
And I was like, okay. And then of course they've got humble kits as well. I'm like, right, I'm in. Okay, I'm in. Right. And I clicked on the website, and it said they had esports. And I was like, you've got esports team? I said, it says FIFA and it says Fortnite, it says F1. I said, but it doesn't say Football Manager, does it?
No.
and I said, so I tell you what, I'll be an Odd fan, right? If that says Football Manager and I'm in charge. and I just chanced my luck, right? And 20 minutes later, he pops back up in the chat again. He's like, yeah, I've spoken to the esports guys, it's on. I was like, what?
Out of nowhere, this happens.
And then like an hour later, I finished the stream, about an hour later, I'm in a Discord call with like the esports guys, and one of the directors of the club who's
just mental in it.
Going, so this sounds pretty funny, right? Like, and we quite like the idea of this. And I'm like, yeah, but this isn't really real, is it? And they're like, yeah, no, it's real. It's real. And then I'm like, I'm in a Teams call, like a Microsoft Teams chat. Like, and then they're like, oh, we'll send you like a bunch of stuff. That, by the way, if you can see there, right?
Yeah.
That, the number 80 Jameson shirt, that's my Odd away kit that they sent me. They've sent me the home shirt, which is all signed. They've sent me shirts for the kids, signed.
Oh, bless them, man. It's amazing.
Cup stickers, scarves. I've got a sweet ass esports hoodie, which everyone's very, very jealous about. Personalised as well. It's got TJFM number 80 on it.
Wow.
And I was like, and at first I was like, this is like a complete catfish set up here. Like it's not real at all.
You can't be sure though.
No chance is this real. And yeah, so we thought, right, well, so we do the save. So we've doing a save of odds Battle Club. It's every Tuesday, and to be fair to my Discord community, they have gone full pelt into it, and we've started learning Norwegian on Duolingo, and
Amazing.
that got back to the CEO pretty quickly. And there's a message in a chat going, Tony's community have started learning Norwegian, and they're all like, why? Norwegian, speak Norwegian. And they're like, they just seem like a nice bunch.
A lot of spare time.
So we've got that. So you know what? Like, if anything, thank you, who shall not be named, for going and managing Villa. Because without that, I'd have ended up having to go back to Sunderland again.
Oh,
So we watch a lot of Norwegian football now. So that's Tuesday night saves. Tuesdays are good. And then Wednesdays and Fridays are South American Journeyman, as you say. So that started as a building nation in Indonesia. Turns out it was going to take me forever because I'm not very good at the game. And 7 seasons I'd won the Asian Confeds Cup, the Indonesian League, and the Indonesian Cup. And that was with my 3rd club in Indonesia. And it wasn't so much build a nation, more manage every team in that nation.
Travel the nation.
To be the plan, yeah. So after a while, we thought, you know what, let's do a little bit of a journeyman on it, and we went to Uruguay for 2 years. We got the team promoted out of Uruguay 2nd division, then got relegated in the 1st division because the team were awful. To be honest, like we didn't really recruit heavily enough coming up, and then we've moved across to Argentina, where we took a job with 6 games to go. We had to keep ourselves in the division.
Okay.
Because if we got relegated, there is no Division 3 on the database, so we'd have been sacked after 6 matches. So I was like, what you might not know about me is I'm not a trophy hunter, but I'm a relegation survival specialist. That's my thing. That is my jam. Like, you send me to a club who's in trouble, and I am there. Like, I don't want expectation win the league. Nah, not interested.
Just keep them up.
Oh, like perfect. Like, you know, and with the least amount of games possible as well. Like, just Steve McQueen, Great Escape. That's me. In like, right, lads, we can do this. Get out. And yeah, so we stayed up on the last day of the season with a 0-0 draw against our local rivals in their yard, and it relegated them.
Even better. Oh, what a way to end the season.
So yeah, so we're now building an Argentinian 4-4-2, and that's my plan. I'm going there, and I've just picked up Alexander Pato as a coach.
Oh yes, yes, get Pato in every day. I love that. Yeah. I did see that in the stream the other day, and I was like, yes, Pato, I'm here for it.
Yeah, and he looks terrible. Like his attributes are awful.
Awful coach, but it's Pato. He's got to be done, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, he's won a lot of opportunities in these lower divisions to get these legends, the crap coaches. It's got to be done though.
Exactly. I've signed a player called Crespo because of course I would.
Obviously.
And a player called Palermo, so practically promoted.
Practically the best team in the league already, just because of the name.
Exactly.
And the best coach ever.
Exactly.
So we're gonna wrap things up. We've got 2 questions to go quickly though. So the first one: if you give any advice to any young comedians who are just starting off or they want to get into it, what is the best bit of advice you'd give to them?
Watch as much comedy as you can, and then just give it a go. That's the best advice you'll ever get, is just give it a go. Because I spent a long time wondering how to do it and wondering if it was something I wanted to do, and you only find out when you're on stage. That's when you'll know. Because like doing really, really well at a gig is amazing. Such a great feeling. Like when you've got an entire venue rocking and you're having a great time, that is so good.
No better feeling is that.
When you've got a big room full of people who hate you for 20 minutes.
I've been there.
That is the worst.
Different context, musically wise, I've been there. It's horrible.
And and you're looking at your watch and going, "Oh, I've done 3 minutes. This is going to be long.
This is going to be a long 20-minute set. Oh my god."
There's a lot of after dinners where I've not been invited back. Put it that way. Who's this guy? And we hope to never see him again.
Blacklist him now.
yeah, it's yeah, it's brutal. It's absolutely brutal. And then you get the pleasure of a 4-hour drive back on your own. So
The amount of times, like I did music playing in bands for years, and the amount of times you gotta have the best show ever to 1,000 people, or you can get there and it'd be like less than 100 people, and they absolutely hate you. And like, why have we travelled 6 hours to Plymouth on a Tuesday night?
yeah. But at least the thing with music is that you can zone out and you can have a pint and you can talk.
Yeah,
Whereas I'm arrogant enough to expect you to all shut up and listen to me for half
interact
an
back
hour.
with you, sort of thing. But you don't really expect the crowd to
Yeah,
interact
and
with you
just
so
go
much
like,
if you're just a band.
yeah, and just go, no. I don't care if this is your birthday. This is my time, not your time. Like, and that does not go down well usually.
No, I can imagine. So,
But yeah, I would say just give it a go. And again, we said just before we start recording, if you want to get into content as well, again, just give it a go. Like you
best thing
just
you can
have to
do.
try it. Like you just got to try it because otherwise you'll never know. And again, the only bit of advice I would say, getting into things like streaming, again, as we said off camera, microphone, lighting, camera in that order.
Yep,
Not camera first. If it sounds crap, it sounds crap. If it looks crap, you can fix it.
yeah,
But if it sounds crap,
exactly.
it sounds crap.
If you can camera, you can go back with a camera. Hundreds of streamers around the whole world, mate, do this full time about cameras. But if it sounds crap, then people are gonna tune out straight away. They can't hear you properly.
Exactly.
They're gone, man. They've gone before like 2 words in. I've been there. 2 words. I'm just like, audio's poor.
And yeah, and there's loads of tutorials to get even one of the worst microphones can sound better.
Definitely.
But yeah, if you got some money to spend it on your microphone.
100%, mate. 100%. Right, let's wrap things up. The final question for this then. For the next 12 months, what are your aspirations? Obviously, you've mentioned the change to the podcast. Is there anything in terms of going back to doing live comedy shows? Is that going to be something in the future again? Or anything in terms of different stuff with streams? I don't know, like anything in mind happening for the next 12 months differently?
Yeah, I mean, it's all of that, to be honest, really. So comedy is probably a thing that might happen. I guess we've had 2 years off it now.
Yeah.
I sort of feel like I'm almost in a place to go back to doing comedy. I mean, I don't know what I'll talk about at the minute. I've not really sat down and written anything over the last 2 years. So in terms of that, I don't really know. But again, I'm looking at comedy slightly differently now, like sort of looking at making it work for me rather than for, chasing up and down all over the place. Like I can't just do a weekend of gigs in Brighton, for example, unless I can take the family. Like, so
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, your family on it as well. Like, so that's my first.
Yeah, even like historically, like I'd have gone, right, fine, myself and Mrs. J could get a hotel easily. Like they'll put you up in a hotel, but they don't put you up in a hotel that's kid friendly. So
Yeah,
that becomes an
exactly.
issue. So it's then like another expense to sort of go, right, well, I'll sort my own hotel out, and at that point you're not making any money. So I'll probably bring it back a bit more local. Like, I mean, we live in Yorkshire, so a lot of places are relatively accessible from not too far.
That's good.
So that's a thing we might do. We've spoken about FMT live shows potentially.
That'd be amazing to do.
That would be awesome. That's something that Matt and I wanted to do from day one. So Rich wants to do that as well. So we'll still be looking at that and trying to work out how that looks and where we can go, because I think there's a demand for it and I think it'll be cool. I've also tentatively discussed with my chat the idea of Football Manager ruined my life 10 years on.
Okay.
And that yeah, I love the idea of it because so much has happened in that time. Like even taking time off and conversations like this are obviously happening now that wouldn't have been happening years ago.
Oh yeah.
The thing with odds, the streaming, the FMT, like it's just all been. It's a story that again probably hasn't been told to some people. Some people are only just discovering me and the show now, which is great as well. Like 7 years on, people like are discovering the show for the first time. Like some people going, "Oh, I watched it on YouTube and I really liked it." I was like, oh, "That's cool, man! Like thanks for that." Like, yeah, it's been there for ages.
All this time later.
But you just don't even think about it. Like people are coming into FM now at like 17, 18. Of course they wouldn't know about the show because they'd have been 10 at the time. Like they would never have known about it. And for me, I'm like, well, it's been there forever. Like, oh, okay, I get that. Like, so that's been a really sort of strange thing for my head to sort of comprehend. So maybe there might be a 10-year
Who knows?
anniversary. We'll see, but hey,
who knows? Well, everyone watch his space. They can find Tony's links down below. Keep an eye on that. We'll have his Discord in there, Twitter, everything else. Make sure to get them links out. Keep an eye out for everything he's doing in the future. Obviously, the podcast, his live streams, and all that stuff. Check it all out. But for now, thank you so much for watching. Cheers for battering me. Giroud has really upset me, being one of my favourite players ever, getting 2 goals past me. But we'll go another day.
We all celebrated that, though, didn't we? We all celebrated.
Yeah, we all love Giroud, really.
Yeah.
And Tony, again, thank you so much for doing this episode of Draft Chats with us, and I look forward to playing you again soon, and hopefully I'll get battered.
Mate, absolutely loved it, man. Thank you so much for having me on. And like I say, I love listening to these. So yeah,
thank you, mate.
Definitely drop a subscription on here if you haven't already done so, and hit a like on the video as well.
There, same percent myself. Perfect. Thank you very much, everyone watching. See you next time. Cheers.